Hi, Centurions. Today is Unit 5, Lesson 9, and we are going to look back at our reading from yesterday and do a close read, which means go back deep into the text and really look at it. So here is the reading for you. You will play it and listen to it again. And as always, please use your readers to follow along. And then here we go. We're going to talk about some metaphors like we have been, where you're comparing two things, but not using like or as. For example, you are my sunshine is a metaphor, my favorite metaphor. So the author states that minerals are the building blocks of rocks. What does that mean? I wouldn't have even thought of that as a metaphor, but it is. Does it mean buildings are made of rocks? Rocks are made of minerals? Rocks are important, or buildings protect people from natural disasters? Hopefully you can figure that one out. And then it was kind of funny because the second one, it says, which word fits this metaphor best? Well, it says cotton is the building block of either volcanoes, bread, clothing, or houses. Well, that makes perfect sense. Cotton. What is the building block? Well, I thought it said coltan. And I kept thinking, what is coltan the building block of? I'm not sure. So finally I realized it was cotton, and then it made sense. Then here it says, as a result, obsidian is smooth and shiny as glass. In fact, it is often called volcanic glass. Okay, so right here it's asking you, why does it say in fact in the sentence above? Does it give more information? Is it to persuade you to take care of it? Is it to give an opinion? Is it to give a detail not related to the sentence before? Granite usually contains mineral grains that are large enough to see with the naked eye. No giggles. Just means your human eye. Most eyes don't wear clothes, you know. We all have naked eyes. So, right here, what does that mean? This is not the answer. I don't know why. Well, I mean, I'm not saying it is or isn't the answer. It's just pointed on that one. I don't know why it is. You go down to here. So does it mean that a person can't see the minerals of granite without a microscope? Does it mean a person can see the minerals of a microscope? Can see the minerals of granite just by looking at it? Does it mean a person can easily break granite apart? Or does it mean a person must clean the granite before seeing the minerals? So, which one of those means that you can see it with the naked eye? All right, number 5, durable means able to last a long time in good condition. So why do you think the prehistoric cultures thought that a rock tool needed to be durable? Think about how they used those rocks for tools and weapons, and why would that be important that they were durable? Now here's an image and text for this question. The heat from where determines what kind of rock is created. And then, oh, I love this lady's sculptures. They are just beautiful, and she makes them from stone. So you're going to use this. I thought it was so interesting how she does this to answer, why does she polish her sculptures? So read this and really look at her sculptures and then answer that question. Here's a little thing about the rock cycle. Is it true or false that rocks stay the same and never change? Is the rock cycle a process that never stops? You better know those answers. Then here it says, over a long period of time, the weight of overlaying layers compacts compacts the sediments in deeper layers, squeezing them together. So right here it says compact means to press together. It is what? It is an action. It is pressing them together. It's how we get layers in rocks. It's how we get fossils, because they get pressed. So would that be a noun, which is a person, place, or thing? Would it be a verb, which is an action? Would it be an adjective, which is describing a noun, sorry, or an adverb that is describing a verb? And then here, give me an example of compact. What I want you to think about is, what is something that you know of where things are compact? One that I thought of was a garbage compactor. And I really don't think homes have these anymore, but I had one when I was a kid. And instead of a garbage can, you pulled it out, you put your trash in there, and you pushed it back in, and you pushed a button, and it squished, it compacted all your trash down. And so when we took our trash out, every single time we put trash in there, you'd put this much in, then you'd squish it down. So we only had to take out trash half as much as we normally, even less than that, because it took all of our trash and squished it. And then we'd put more in, and it'd squish it. It was a trash compactor. I don't really think they have them. I'm sure they do, but they're not as popular now. Anyway, that's what I thought of. But there are lots of ways to think of things being compacted. And you can look at the next couple of things. No. Right. Oh, hold on just a second. You can look right here. This one's talking about some different ways to compact or spread things. So if you pressed snow together in your hand, think of Mr. Turrupt. Is that compacting the snowball or spreading it? If people walk on a trail, is that compacting the dirt or spreading it? And then the wind and the dandelion seeds, is that compacting the dandelion seeds or spreading it? Here is our good old anchor chart for quotation marks. I tell you, we're practicing this so many times, you're going to be the best quotation mark users in town. If you have a tag at the end, meaning where it says from Ben, your quotation marks are going to go around, you're right, what the person says. So your quotation marks will not be around the words remarked Ben, because you don't say, good morning, Mrs. Trumler, said Ashton, and put quotation marks around said Ashton. Of course not. So you put it around, see, here's Ben, and he's saying quotation marks can be tricky. So over here we put quotation marks, and here's that famous capital letter that many of you keep forgetting. You're not going to forget it anymore because it's right here. Quotation marks can be tricky. And then here's our comma, which is tricky for me to put a comma there, but unless it's a question mark or an exclamation point. If it's just going to be a period like this, we put a comma. Quotation marks. Remarked Ben. That's pretty. Well, these two are the easiest. If you want to say Ben commented, Ben said, Ben yelled, Ben screamed, Ben whispered, whatever. If you want to say it first, you can do that. You can then put a comma, because you naturally will take a little pause. Ben commented, quotation marks, and that capital letter. Quotation marks can be tricky. And then here you do put the period and the quotation marks. And then this one, it's easy once you get it, but it's a little tricky at the time. If you want to put it right in the middle, capital letter and your quotation marks. Quotation marks can be tricky, comma, quotation marks. Ben stated, you take a little pause, so another comma, quotation marks. But I think I have them figured out now. Period, because it is the final end of the whole thing. Quotation marks. You have this to help you. Use this. Use it, use it, use it. Then you have this too to help you. Here's just, he said my favorite board game is checkers. Here's how you fix it. He said, comma, quotation marks, make sure you capitalize. My favorite board game is checkers. Period. Quotation marks. I'm out of breath. So you're going to rewrite these sentences with commas and quotation marks. Please go back and use these for help. Because if you don't, and you don't get them right, you're going to have to redo them. So maybe you don't need it, and that would be wonderful. Just then, see, some of them already have some commas, but make sure they're in the right place. Just then, Dad asked, what would you like to eat for dinner? I replied, I would like to have grilled chicken. I want spaghetti and meatballs, exclaimed my sister. Mom asked, how about we make some sandwiches? My sister and I cried, yes, in response. So you'll have that whole little conversation in 5 different sentences. And you'll put the correct quotations and commas, quotation marks. Now we're going to do some grammar and spelling practice. I keep getting out of the camera. I don't know. I'm not very good at this. Our root word of the day, rupt, which means to break. I like how they have the little band-aids. It is a Latin root word and it means to break. And we can really think of that with our volcanoes. Erupt, to burst forth. Rupture, to break or burst. Disrupt, to cause disorder, like to break the silence, to break the seriousness. Abrupt, sudden. Now, corrupt and bankrupt also. Corrupt means crooked or immoral, and bankrupt means having no money. You're broke. And then interrupt is to cause a break in the flow. Like if you're having a nice talk with somebody and somebody comes up and interrupts it, it's not very nice, is it? So sometimes, like if Mr. Yoakum and I are talking, or two teachers are talking, and somebody comes up and I'll say, please don't interrupt us, I'll get to you in 1 minute. That means, yeah, don't interrupt unless it's an emergency. All right, so you are going to then figure out which rupt word goes for these next 3 sentences. The science lesson was blank when the fire alarm went off. They blank a serious decision by making jokes and acting silly. So they were, trying, like the group was trying to make a serious decision and people were being silly. What did they do? Did they erupted? Did they interrupted? Did they interrupt? Did they disrupt? Or did they rupture? Number 22, and blank of geysers released hot water and steam. Now here is your spelling word chart. I know this looks kind of scary. All it is your word, the definition, and example sentence. Hierarchy, matriarch, archrival, anarchy, autograph, biographer, calligraphy, paragraph, eruption, uninterrupted, rupture, and abrupt. You will pick the correct spelling word for the sentence. So he left in a blank way without saying goodbye, and we have all only one, two, three, four. Four of them.